Welcome to the Daily Vibecasting.
Okay, we are diving into the feed today. We've pulled, 27 posts?
Yep, 27, defining the vibe. It is quite a mix. Technology policy causing chaos, some really stark political polarization.
And that creator economy grind, just pure exhaustion.
Exactly. So our mission, as always, is to cut through that noise for you. We're going to hit the H-1B visa fee mess head on.
Yeah, the confusion there was something else.
Then we'll look at the political side specifically, how mourning itself has become so deeply partisan after these assassinations.
And link that maybe to media specialization, platform demands. It all connects somehow.
It does. Let's get into it. All right, first up, the H-1B visa fee story. It just completely took over the feed.
Absolutely dominated.
So for anyone maybe less familiar, the H-1B, that's the visa for specialized skilled workers, right, often in tech, intended for fields where there's a supposed labor shortage.
Supposed is the key word there. Often.
And this new policy, this $100,000 fee, well, critics immediately framed it as tackling wage suppression.
And look, that's not just talk. There's data. U.S. Department of Labor figures from 2024. They show H-1B workers earning like 15 to 20% less than comparable U.S. tech workers.
Wow, 15 to 20%.
Yeah. And even back in 2016, an NBER study, that's the National Bureau of Economic Research, found basically no real evidence of the widespread skill shortages the program was supposedly designed for.
So the data kind of suggests it was maybe more about cost-cutting than filling skill gaps.
It lends weight to that argument, definitely.
Which brings us to this post from @Cernovich. She wrote, "The panic over a $100,000 fee gives up the game. H-1B was always about suppressing our wages and making us poorer."
Captures that sentiment perfectly. But the way this policy rolled out, total mess. The initial reporting caused massive confusion.
Oh, completely. A communication breakdown.
Yeah.
Like at the Emily DSC pointed out, they posted, Washington Post literally yesterday, Trump unveils new $100K annual fee on H-1B visas White House today.
Right. The White House had to scramble, basically, to correct it. They had to clarify, look, this $100,000 fee, it's a one-time charge.
One time.
Only for new petitions. It's not annual. It doesn't hit current visa holders. But the damage is kind of done.
Yeah, because as Anar Zeldane noted, people got excited because they thought it was yearly and applied to everyone already here.
That misunderstanding fueled the initial positive reaction for a lot of people.
And the stakes here are pretty high, aren't they? India gets the vast majority of these visas.
Yeah, around 72% last year. Huge numbers.
And this policy shift, the fee itself, it was definitely fueled by personal stories of displacement. We saw this really resonate from at RetroCoast.
Oh, yeah, that one went viral.
Once there was a company that hired a foreigner on a hashtag H-1B visa as a manager. Within a year, he fired all the Americans and replaced them with hashtag H-1B workers from his home country. I know because one of the fired Americans was me.
Oof, that's a tough personal story. And look, while it's anecdotal, you have to ask, is there a systemic issue? Well, maybe. That 2016 study also found 77% of H-1B petitions were for jobs where employers could have hired Americans.
So 77%, there was potential overlap.
Significant potential. And this public outrage over wage undercutting, that's what really pushed this policy change forward. Figures like Vivek Ramaswamy at Baby Gravy 9 linked his past comments as sort of catalyzing these new rules.
But the really interesting part, I think, is the disconnect. The cognitive dissonance, as that Roman helmet guy put it.
Yeah, that was sharp.
H-1B workers are invaluable to the U.S. economy. Without them, every company would collapse, but no company would pay $100K for one. The cognitive dissonance here is insane.
Right. It perfectly captures the paradox. If the median H-1B salary is already, say, $87,000, which is below the U.S. average for similar tech roles, then tacking on a $100,000 upfront fee.
Doesn't make much sense financially.
Not unless that worker is absolutely, truly irreplaceable. It kind of confirms the cheap labor argument, doesn't it?
It really does. And things got so heated, we even saw satire popping up at Abtanaroff referenced a Reddit post mocking the policy with, like, race-based fees.
Which sounds extreme, but it reflects that stat. Something like 81% of these visas historically went to Indian nationals. It just shows how charged the whole debate became.
Okay, let's shift gears. Moving from that policy mess to some really heavy political tension. The feed was just full of the aftermath of the Charlie Kirk assassination.
Yeah, incredibly somber tone shift there.
But amidst all that, there was this unexpected moment. A bipartisan call from Senator John Fetterman. At Eric Eldo captured it. Senator John Fetterman, DPA, calls on his party to give Charlie Kirk mourners space tomorrow, let people grieve and give them the space.
That really stood out. I mean, especially given the context, there was a poll September 2025 saying 67% of Americans think harsh political talk fuels violence.
Wow, 2/3.
Yeah. So Fetterman saying this, with protests apparently planned near the memorial, it felt like a necessary plea to just lower the temperature.
And that urgency was definitely reflected in the security measures. At Jack Posobiec posted about it. There is a strict no-bag policy for tomorrow's memorial service for Charlie. This includes purses, backpacks, and even clear bags. Security will be enforcing this.
Makes sense. There's actually research on this. A 2023 study found clear bag policies can cut down successful weapon smuggling attempts by about 40%.
Okay, so it wasn't just for show. A real security measure.
Definitely a serious response to a very real threat perception.
But Fetterman's call for space, that bipartisan moment,
Yeah.
it really contrasts with what happened on Capitol Hill, right?
Okay.
Guy Benson pointed out this stark difference in how these tragedies were being acknowledged.
Yeah, that post was revealing. He wrote about how a resolution honoring Representative Melissa Hortman, who was assassinated back in June 2025.
That passed unanimously.
Unanimously, yeah. Democrats honoring a Democrat. But then when a similar resolution came up for Charlie Kirk, a Republican, 58 Democrats voted against it.
58 against. That's significant.
It is. And for you listening, this is a key insight. It shows a really deep and frankly worrying partisan split, even in how we collectively mourn or condemn political violence.
Yeah, that's tough. We also saw political friction around perceived double standards.
Yeah.
Rob Schneider took a shot at Jimmy Kimmel.
Oh, right. That post was just blunt.
Yeah, Rob Schneider just wrote, makes you go, and maybe use your middle finger.
Okay. The context there, for anyone who missed it, was Kimmel's past defense of Roseanne Barr's show getting canceled versus, well, the more recent noise around his own show's suspension after a comment he made about Kirk.
So Schneider's basically pointing out what looks like a double standard.
Pretty much. Comparing how cancel culture arguments were used then versus now when it hit closer to home for Kimmel.
You're sticking with party politics, but from the inside, Senator Joe Manchin had some pretty harsh words for his own party of the Democrats. Ed Jason Dirty DC quoted him.
Yeah, this was quite the quote.
Joe Manchin. I was a Democrat all my life. They better figure out how they lost people like me.
Oh, wow.
When you quit worrying about the working person, you're worried more about a person that's able-bodied and capable of working that won't work.
Wow. That's a direct hit. And it really taps into a broader trend, doesn't it? Democrats have been losing registered voters in all 30 states that track party affiliation.
All 30.
Yeah, and the perception is this ideological shift, maybe moving away from the traditional working class base. Manchin's quote just sort of crystallizes that whole vulnerability for the party.
Okay, let's pivot again. Let's talk platform dynamics, the creator economy stuff. This post from @LevelSecchio was really interesting, comparing success on different platforms.
Yeah, I saw that one. He points out the difference, right? Big YouTubers, millions of subs, but maybe only tens of thousands of followers on X.
And vice versa. Big X accounts that don't translate to huge YouTube channels, he wrote. Interesting how most big YouTubers have just tens of thousands of followers on X. It makes me think maybe being great at writing relatively short tweets stops you from developing those longer form skills.
It's a great observation. I mean, think about it. X rewards being concise, punchy, quick, short form writing.
Right.
YouTube demands something different. Long form storytelling, engaging presentation, personality over hours sometimes. They're really different cognitive muscles.
So being good at one might actually make it harder to be good at the other.
It seems plausible, yeah. Mastering one skill set might genuinely hinder developing the other. It's something for creators to think about.
And if you're trying to master everything, well, you end up, like this post from @NikkiBribira suggests, completely burned out.
Oh, the entrepreneur's weekend post. Brutal honesty there.
When running a growing consumer product, your only time to sleep is Friday night to Sunday mid-afternoon. That's basically when the internet turns off. If you're asleep during any other time, you'll probably be asleep during a brewing crisis. It's not healthy.
I mean, that resonates, right? That's the 24/7 reality for so many founders. And there's research backing it up. Entrepreneurs often give up 20, even 30% of their needed sleep just to handle crises.
Wow.
Interestingly, that post apparently popped up during a weirdly quiet internet moment, maybe because of those undersea cable cuts in the Middle East we heard about. A forced mini break, maybe?
An accidental pause button.
Yeah.
Okay, switching to legal stuff quickly. We saw this clash over state versus federal power. At AGD Hillen commented on a California bill trying to regulate federal officers' uniforms.
Yeah, seemed like a non-starter.
He wrote, This is silly and futile. The state has no jurisdiction over the attire of federal law enforcement officials.
And he's right. California was trying to tell federal agents they couldn't wear face masks, basically.
And that doesn't fly.
Nope. Because of the Constitution's Supremacy Clause, federal law trumps state law when it comes to federal operations. States just can't dictate how federal agents dress or operate. It's fundamental.
Okay, basic constitutional stuff. And one more legal item. Renewed focus on former FBI Director James Comey. At Jonathan Turley reported on this.
Yeah, things heating up there, potentially.
A subpoena was served on Columbia law professor Daniel Richman, a close friend of Comey's who has been accused of serving as his conduit for leaks to the media. Comey is under investigation, and the subpoena for his friend can only be viewed as ominous.
Right. This all goes back to the investigation into whether Comey committed perjury about leaking memos, those memos detailing his conversations with President Trump.
I remember that.
The official DOJ report already said Comey broke FBI policy by taking and sharing those memos. Richman was the one who leaked them to the press. So serving Richman with the subpoena now. It suggests that criminal probe into Comey is definitely active and possibly escalating.
Okay, we've hit a lot of heavy topics. Policy chaos, division, burnout, legal fights. Let's wrap with something positive. A moment of personal resilience from @JohnRich.
Ah, the proud dad moment.
Yeah.
That was nice to see.
He posted, "My son was born with slight misalignment in his knees. Less than a year ago, he had 2 knee surgeries back-to-back to fix the problem. After hundreds of hours of PT, today, he takes the mound to pitch again. Proud daddy."
That's fantastic. She's talking about patellofemoral instability, which, affects about 1 in 1,000 kids. It's not super rare, but requires serious work.
2 surgeries, hundreds of hours of PT.
Yeah. Physical therapy for that usually takes 6 to 12 months. It's intensive. So for his son to get back out there pitching, that takes incredible mental fortitude. The APA, American Psychological Association, often talks about how athletes build that kind of resilience through overcoming injuries. It's powerful stuff.
Definitely a great comeback story to end on. So, that's our Vibecast for today. We saw how fast things move, policy confusion ignites instantly, political wounds are deep, and the media landscape keeps demanding more.
We really covered the spectrum. And pulling it all together, think back to that H-1B fee fiasco. The initial wrong idea, the $100K annual fee, that misinterpretation basically set the whole narrative on fire.
Yeah, the correction almost didn't matter as much.
Exactly. So here's the thought to leave you with. If policy today gets defined more by the public's gut reaction to the worst possible misunderstanding of it, like that annual fee myth, then how much power does official clarification actually have anymore? Especially when social media reacts instantly, emotionally.
That's a heavy question. How much does the correction matter in the face of that first wave of emotion? Something definitely to chew on.
Chew on that until the next deep dive.